Hi there, thank you for joining me today. I thought I'd make a little batch of Cajun fries or spicy fries. I'm using some Alfred Bartlett Rooster potatoes. These are the smaller ones that come in the packet, and the reason I'm using the tiny ones is because, well, frankly, they're a pain to cut up for a stew, and this is good for a small batch, just in case I make a mess of it. Now, I do have a deep fat fryer available, but on this occasion I aim to use the air fryer because I guess it's the way forward, and also I've got a whole bunch of other things that I'm putting in the air fryer today. So let's see how it goes, shall we? Okay, so to the table. Now there's also another random potato found in the fridge, and this is not an Alfred Bartlett. This is don't know. If you're a potato expert, maybe you can tell me. However, same thing applies to all of this potato-ness. It's a case of slice it thin with a good knife, a good sharp knife. Never work with a blunt knife, you're only going to hurt yourself. And yeah, so slice it thin this way. And then what I tend to do is carefully working away from myself. It's always work with the angle of the blade, working away from your fingers. That way you're less likely to stab yourself. Oh, I need a bowl. Let me get a bowl. Ew, where's the bowl gone? Here we go. Gonna wash this. Some lukewarm water at the tap, of course, because I'm going to follow the standard way of getting decent fries, and that's to soak the potatoes for a little bit in salt water. You can use sugar water, or high fructose sugar if you're in the States. That's what they use, I believe, for like McDonald's fries, things like that. The aim of using the sugar or the salt is to draw the water out of the potato, and it helps the potato cook better. That's as much as I understand. So I'm going to take these slivers and let's move this back a bit so you can see. There we go. Pop them in. Just moving that aside. Now I've got a nice stack. Ooh, a slippery stack. And I'm just going to go down that, carefully holding these slivers down, aiming to work quickly but not mince my fingers. There we go. Split those up. Looking good. Onto the Alfred Bartlett. I find these, they are kind of red. I don't know whether they're available in other countries, but they're very popular here in England. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to pop that straight in the water. The aim is to get good even size fries. That way they'll all cook roughly at the same rate. And if you're going to line that up with, as I've got, a little pizza in the oven, then it should all cook by the time the pizza's done. That's the plan. And there you go. I have washed these potatoes first, of course. Always wash them if they started to chit in the cupboard. That when they get the little growth nodules on them, you pull those off just to tidy it up a bit. But it's as honest a potato as you can find, really. It's got a nice yellowy texture in the middle, which I kind of like. And they're great for baking, frying, roasting. Oh, mean, a lot of potatoes are good for that, but some have more water than others, and these have kind of the right balance, and they tend to cook reasonably quickly. And if you're looking at a high electric bill or high gas bill for cooking, you kind of want to watch that. So I've got some salt in here right now, and it's going to soak for a little bit. I will come back to it in about 10 minutes. Long enough for a cuppa, I think. Okay, so it's been soaking a while. It's time now to crack on with the seasoning. Now, what I like to do is, well, I like to make my own seasoning, but you can get, of course, off the shelf things from the local supermarket, or in our case, a whole bunch of them from Rogers Wholesale over in Wolverhampton. It's a little outside Wolverhampton. Very, very good bargain we had. Yeah, we're going to take a while to get through this. I think it's about 50p. It was quite a reasonable price, isn't it? Now, a lot of people, they make up a whole batch of the seasoning and they have it sort of hanging around in a pouch for when they need it, if you use it regularly.
Been very impressive. It's got,
as I say, you can use it straight out
for those who use
straight
it.
out the bottle. This one smells rather like
toasting rack for when you want to do just simple toast.
Well, this one isn't bad.
It frankly performs better than the
like
toast
crisps, you know, good spicy crisps.
It's on a par with the Argo when it comes to
some of those
toast
some of the
and getting
chips
things done quickly and efficiently.
And then there's the make it yourself version.
It also compares very
I like
favourably. It's much better than the old oven.
Things that are spicy.
The old oven did well, but this is far more flexibility. It's got a whole bunch of settings across the top. One of them is a fries setting, and there's a chicken setting. You can stick a small chicken, a small hen in there, and stick it on a rotisserie, and you can do kebabs as well. But we like to put the shelves in and just use it for multiple items at once because it does very well. So I've got the chips in there, and also a pizza on the top shelf, and yeah, we'll just let it go. Now I'm going to have to move the pizza out when it's about halfway done, so at the 10-minute mark. That should be when the pizza's perfect to come out, perfect and toasty. So and then I'll shuffle things around. I've got some hash browns in there. They need a little more attention, so I'm going to move those up towards the top, and we'll run it until this cycle finishes, and then I'm going to move the chips to the top bit by bit. I've got them on 2 shelves because it's a small oven, and so I'm going to do them stage by stage. Again, she'll transfer them to.
I like to get the most from my money.
One of the racks.
I'm going to have half of this.
I think it's got 3 racks.
I'll pop the rest in the front for later.
They let the air flow through, and we'll see how they turn out.
Yes, it should go in a little bowl. Little bowl to protect it from the other things in the fridge, however. Now it's a case of mince it up. If you're not particularly dexterous, and I'm not particularly dexterous, you might like to get not necessarily the whole electric mince food processor, but you can get one of these things. They're very, very good. It's powered by a pull string. You just pop things in there with the blades, and it does a very good job of, well, mincing anything small up, really. Great for people who are a bit bothered by textures and they need everything minced up very, very small. So that's going to go, well, here for want of a better place at the moment. Yeah, I think I caught it all. Good. And I found things to use, so we've got a bit of time. So just a little bit. Not sure that is time. That doesn't look like. Anyway, it smells nice, so probably it is. We've got some chili flakes. Chili flakes. This blooming. Oop, there we go. One of these tops that doesn't let anything out. You peel off the top, bang a bunch of those in there. There we go. Chili flakes to taste. A little bit of black pepper. Modicum of that. I'm not one of these people who likes to season things just with black pepper and a little bit of salt, you know, because really, come on, live a little. And this one is, this one's cumin. Smells good. And I'm going to pop a little bit of cumin in there. Just a little bit. Hopefully not too much. Teeny tiny amount. A little goes a long way with cumin. Salt, of course. Now, before you say unhealthy, yeah, I know, but a lot of this is going to end up on the pan rather than on the fries, so don't worry about it. A little bit of virgin olive oil. Again, go for the best you can afford. Again, before you start bleating about the health aspect, most of this will end up on the pan, not in the food. You can, of course, use that oil later on to do a toasty. That's pretty much exhausted my supply of spicy things. I've also got a variety of things like sumac, but I thought I had some mustard, but turns out I don't. I got some of that nasty mustard in a jar in the fridge, but I kind of wanted mustard powder. So I've taken a bit of a slice of this chorizo. You can get chorizo in various states. Some slightly more cooked than others. This one's a nice firm one. I like the, you know, it's got a bit of bounce to it. I don't like the ones that are kind of moist. They don't do well for me. Let's put it like that. And the moister ones aren't easy to cut. Just mush them up with a fork. Ugh. But these you can slice them gently. I could probably do with a fork to hold the bits, that way I'm not endangering my fingers. It'd be awful if I caught that an accident on camera, wouldn't it? Right. So I'm going to cut these into teeny tiny little bits. This is not one of the sort of things I would put in that little mincer I showed you. It's a little too firm. Probably wouldn't do the blades and the power good. Again, take the time with your food to make it nice. I appreciate a lot of people live a very busy life, but you really do have to make time for your food. Make time for food, eating and relaxation. It's good for you. Just do it. Okay, back into that. Ooh. Actually, turns out this one's, I thought it was the nasty English sort, but which I don't like. Smell, you know, this one's the slightly milder, it's Russian style, okay? It's Russian style, don't hate on it. And have a teaspoon of that. Just gives a bit of pep, you know. Might be awful. It's been in the fridge a while. And yeah, so I'm gonna smush it up a bit with my fingers. Oh, this is gonna get messy, isn't it? Yeah. You know what? Cookery. You can't make good food without a bit of mess. I could have used a spoon, I suppose. I just felt it stand more chance of getting everywhere if I did. Right. As much of that in the bowl as possible. Right. Now before I I'm going to need a good quality bowl. Any bowl will do, frankly. It's just to prepare the fries. Now see, they've been soaking a while, so I'm going to give them a bit of a squish. See, I'll wash my hands with the water, can't I? That would help. Won't harm. And I'm going to decant the water. I think you know how to do that. Let's do that in this bowl. Keep it simple, keep the washing down, and off they go to the bin. Right. So I'm gonna do some of these fries in the boring seasoning what we got from the shop. Big old cup for that, shall we? Do that. So about 50-50-ish. And it's not like we have to be economical with this stuff. Yeah, lots. There we go. Give it a shake. Oh, now this one didn't get any oil, so I'm going to be more adding some oil to this one. This is by no means an endorsement of this product. It was cheap. You buy what you like. Little glug. I do like the dusty feel of it. You know, it's there you go. That can wait on just a while. Next, I'm going to wash my hands, not to contaminate the batch. Right, next up, let's take the whole, bung it in there. And smush it around. Same thing. You want to be coating the chips as much as possible with the oily, spicy mixture. Now, then, this is when it gets a little bit messy. Then the next step is to get a roasting tray. We've got a tiny little air fryer, so we do things in tiny batches. I found these came in very handy. Now what I'm going to do is cook these essentially twice. Once they're getting cooked in the tray here, then when they're cooked enough and these things are starting to soften up a bit, you know, and go nice, I'm going to take them out and put them on the tray, on the aerated tray, and they'll get the good flow of air around them. That's the plan. So scoop that in there. Right, that's that. And the same for this one. This one's going to need a little longer perhaps because it's got the chorizo in it. There we go. And into the oven they go. Okay, so this is our air fryer. We've had it for a month or so now, and it's been very, very good. Been very impressed. It's got a rotisserie for those who use these sort of things. It's also got a toasting rack for when you want to do just simple toast, and it frankly performs better than the toaster did, and it's on a par with the Argo when it comes to preparing toast and getting things done quickly and efficiently. Yeah, it also compares very favourably. It's much better than the old oven. The old oven did well, but this is far more flexibility. It's got a whole bunch of settings across the top. One of them is a fries setting, and there's a hard chicken setting. You can stick a small chicken, a small hen in there and stick it on the rotisserie, and you can do kebabs as well. But we like to put the shelves in and just use it for multiple items at once because it does very well. So I've got the chips in there and also a pizza on the top shelf, and yeah, we'll just let it go. Now I'm going to have to move the pizza out when it's about halfway done, so at the 10-minute mark. That should be when the pizza's perfect to come out, perfect and toasty. So and then I'll shuffle things around. I've got some hash browns in there. They need a little more attention, so I'm going to move those up towards the top, and we'll run it until this cycle finishes, and then I'm going to move the chips to the top bit by bit. I've got them on 2 shelves because it's a small oven, and so we're going to do them stage by stage. I shall transfer them to each to one of the racks that came with it. It came with, I think it's got 3 racks. They're kind of nice. They let the air flow through. And we'll see how they turn out. It's a little light. I like the light. I've also got a pastry in there. It's a bean and cheese bake. You can see the lights kind of. Oh, it comes with these as well, which are kind of useful. Let's see how the pizza's doing. Pizza's got this nice little cast iron tray thing which helps it crisp up, and so far so good. It's a nice healthy pizza. Yeah, healthy. He said it. It's got spinach on it. I added a whole bunch more cheese, olive oil, spices, pepperoni. It's a standard Aldi pizza base, which doesn't have a fat lot of cheese on it, but it's got a little bit. Just augment it, make it nicer. I'll come back to it in a bit. Okay, so I've switched things around, and now I've got the hash browns and my dodgy cheap bean and cheese pasty on the top. They are closest to the heating element, so they toast up nicely, and of course they're on this tray to allow the air to flow around them. Yeah, there's that. I've got in the base this drip tray. It's for something else. I think it's for braising or so. Anyway, but it catches grease fantastically, so you pop that in the base, otherwise you've got a bit of a clean-up job on hand. The reason being, let's just turn it around. Okay. Whoop. The reason being, of course, this is going to get messy. So they've been cooking for a whole cycle, a chip cycle. It's more of a guide than anything else, the times. But I've given them this cook so far, and
mean, they're still very firm. You can tell by the look of them, can't you? They are still on the way to being cooked. So what I'm going to do now is going to put a plate down. I'm going to show you that some of the project. I'll put a plate down there, and now we're going to get the. These are the store-bought fry ones, of course. Store-bought Cajun sauce. So I'll put that on the tray and spread them out. Now remember, these have got a lot of seasoning on them, and see, it rolls off. Now with an air fryer, the key thing is to get the air flowing around what you're cooking, because otherwise it cooks more slowly or doesn't cook properly at all. So I'm separating the chips. I know it's quicker in a regular fryer. You can see in the other shot we've got one. But there we go. I'm going to pop that over there in the I think I might pour the juices over this. Yeah, goes there. Good sprinkling of Cajun seasoning for good blooming measure. I suppose if I really wanted, I could toss them around in that, and then into the fryer they go. And put them there. Irritatingly, because it's got the rotisserie feature, the rotisserie mechanism gets in the way of one of the shelves. Otherwise you'd have the ability to put in more shelves in a better spacing, but I'm not going to complain because the rotisserie is cool. It just is. Right. I have let these things cool a bit before I start touching them with my bare hands. I'm not an idiot, you know. There we go. The onions are cooked nicely in one cycle, and the chorizo's well, it's safe to eat at this point. It's properly cooked. Let's let some of that juice roll off, and I think with a bit of separation. Come on, separate. This is going to get messy. This one is. You can tell. We'll pop that one. Pop that one in the fryer as well. They're going to go on the very bottom. See, I'd put it there, but they're in the middle, you know, just a little bit further up. But that's where the mechanism is. Kind of blocks the way. So now it's going to get another 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to see how long it takes to make this thing work. Obviously I'm going to take the hash browns out sooner because they're pretty much done, and the pasty won't take more than 10 to do. It is cooked from frozen, so you know it just takes a while longer. You could get a quicker result if you made it fresh. Now I'll focus back on the plate, which shows all the oil that has run off the food we're about to cook. And as I say, you could use this oil for frying, maybe, if you wanted to do a nice spicy toasted sandwich later on. You know, put it in a frying pan, or just leave it on in a pan and put the toasted sandwich in on top of it. It'll soak up all the good juices there. Just look at that. Yeah, I could have got away with a little less oil, but there it is. That won't go to waste, trust me. like the little icons on the top. There's a chip icon, then it goes, I think it's a steak. Then it's sort of a chickeny shape. Fish, obviously. Some other sort of steaky fish, I think. I'm not sure. There's a fuller chicken. Longer time. There's kebabs, although it looks, this little icon looks for all the world like shock absorbers. And there's the drying out feature. So if you want to dry out some leaves or something, you could do that. Or dehydrate fruit. I've never done that. I don't know. I'd have no plans to dehydrate fruit. I like to buy my fruit dehydrated, but there we go. And anyway, so let's get back to the only setting I tend to use, which is the fries setting, because that seems to do the best for whatever I want to do. I've yet to use a rotisserie. And onwards we go. You can see the little fan goes and the heating element goes, and you've got, this is the timer set, you can set it up and down, and this is the temperature, and that's the little light. And yeah, it's very straightforward. Ooh. Probably don't want to do that. What's that? Ooh. I think I fouled it up. I should read the manual, shouldn't I? Let's try that one again. Off we go. There we go. Back on again. Okay, so it's a couple of days later. When I was cooking the other night, when I cooked most of the video, I unfortunately forgot to film the end product. And I was halfway through eating it when I realised what I'd done. Classic move. And what I've got to do now is to finish it off by giving you at least an idea of what the finished product should look like. Now, it's worth mentioning at this point that I have been using the air fryer, and it isn't very good for chips. This one, certainly. I can't speak for the others because I've only tried this one from Tower. In fact, it does everything but chips. And it doesn't matter whether the chips are made from scratch or whether they're made from, oven chips from a packet. It just doesn't do them well. It doesn't cook them through thoroughly. On the chip setting, which is 20 minutes at 180, and the potatoes don't cook. And we tried slicing them thinner, and if you slice them too thin, of course, you just get carbonised sticks. And if you don't slice them thin enough, then they're just stiff as a board. Horrible. But it's a great little oven in all other respects. If you want to cook a tiny batch of cakes, great. You want to take a little oven and do pasties, great. Pastries, great. It's great for everything, but just not chips. Anyway, onwards and upwards. I'm going to fire up the deep fat fryer and fry these chips properly, quickly, using less energy, I suspect. And then I'm going to coat them in some of the seasoning. There we go. Some of the seasoning. This proved to be very, 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 very hot. On a par with the likes of Five Guys. I'm not saying it's exactly the same blend, but it's got a kick just like that. So this one is from a brand called Stone Mill. They may not make it anymore. The sort of shops I go to tend to stock things that are out of production. But if they do, well, I can heartily recommend it as something that burns. I'll just change the camera around, shall I? Okay, guys. Yes, this is a cluttered worktop. I do apologise, but we're in the middle of a renovation at the moment, so things are a bit tight. Nice fat chips this time. I'm going to take the fry cage out. I've already allowed it to heat up. I wouldn't want to bore you with that process. It does take about 5 minutes in this case. It's a Swan, and quite recently purchased this one. It's very good.
It's got a good sturdy basket and it handles around about 3 litres of oil. In they go. And we pop the lid on. I have no idea why they fitted it with that viewing window. It's always covered in droplets of moisture. Can't see anything. So I like to put the chips in a colander or something like this with a bit of paper to help absorb some of the oil that's already drained off the chips. I use the drainer in the fryer to remove as much of the oil as possible, and then I put them in this. Now, some people just throw this away, the paper that is, when they're done with it. But this is a great resource for lighting a barbecue later on, because it's oily paper, it carries a flame. Scrumple that up, shove it in the barbecue. It's a great fire lighter. Not a waste at all. Okay, it goes with the seasoning. And it's just a simple case of bang it on there. You might want to measure it if you don't have a metric ton of it. There we go, shake it around. One of the good reasons for using the colander. I've given it a dose of salt as well because I felt it lacked that in the mixture. Only a little bit, mind. And yeah, that's your lot. Anyhow, thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate your time. If you've got the time, please like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. It helps the channel quite a lot. And whatever you do, have a great day. Bye for now.